So, I did end up getting the upgraded dosage to 10 milligrams, and as I discussed in the last video, so I'm currently on day 4 of taking 10 milligrams, and I just gotta say, man, huge difference in, it only being 4 days in. Yesterday, I felt so good. I think that was like the first true day I've ever had waking up with no anxiety and waking up feeling great throughout the whole day. And today felt great as well. Only there were two notable side effects that I've noticed. One, as of last week, my appetite has come back. So like on the 4th day of taking 7.5 milligrams, my anxiety is back in full force, and I'm just hungry all the time, especially when I'm bored, just trying to eat, and that's good and bad. Bad in the sense that I don't want to gain any weight, so means I gotta work extra hard physically. But yeah, my appetite is back in full force, and I love food, and I'm thinking about food, and it's a great thing. Second is this medication makes me pretty drowsy. I'm an hour and a half in on today's dose. I'm super tired. I had to force myself to get up to take this video, and yeah, I was sitting on a rocking chair, and I could have fallen asleep and taken a nap for an hour or so maybe, but I'm gonna try to keep myself busy right now, and but we'll see how long this lasts, this drowsiness. But yeah, today I'm super drowsy. So day 5, and still feeling good, still feeling super hungry all the time, and seems like every other day I'm feeling sleepy, or I don't even know if it's like yesterday I didn't feel sleepy at all. Today I felt sleepy, but I also didn't work, so I don't know. I'm a little drowsy right now, but feeling relatively good, even despite having something really stressful happen this morning. I know that normally I would be so much more tense and stressed out, but no panic attack, no anxiety attack. I do feel like a little anxiety, but I think that due to the 10 milligrams, I'm feeling fantastic right now, in comparison to before. So discussed in the last video, so I'm currently on day 4 of taking 10 milligrams, and I just gotta say, man, huge difference in it only being 4 days in. Yesterday I felt so good. I think that was like the first true day I've ever had waking up with no anxiety and waking up feeling great throughout the whole day. And super tired. Just woke up from another nap, and yeah, just been like every other day probably, just really tired, and having that urge to nap, and then napping for like 30-45 minutes, waking up feeling a little refreshed, but then kind of just repeating the cycle. And I have the Amazon Halo, and it says that I'm only getting like 4 hours of sleep, but the way that it measures all that is kind of weird. So I feel like I am sleeping more than 4 hours. I feel like I'm getting 6 to 7 hours, or 5 to 7 hours, but for whatever reason it thinks that I'm getting less. I think that just has to do with where I'm sleeping right now and how my sleeping arrangements are. There's kind of a lot of noise during the night, and so even though I don't wake up, I think it might register that is me being up, but whatever, not a big deal to me. I don't feel like more physically tired during the day. It's just that like my body isn't tired, but like I'm just sleepy. And this is technically week 6, I guess, on Lexapro, second week on 10 milligrams, but I feel the side effects coming on a bit stronger than I thought. And then, overall, I mean, like, yeah, I feel better. I'm feeling much better, and the trade-off of these minor side effects to not waking up with morning anxiety, to not having daily panic attacks and anxiety attacks is just so much more worth it. Like, it's probably just every other day that I'm feeling, trouble or I'm struggling, or anxiety has just become just a crappy part of my life. But it's definitely at a much lesser scale, and I'm definitely seeing it just improving and just being better with time. So I'm positive and happy to be where I am with therapy and with medication. So we'll see what happens these other days. So it's Saturday, the day after yesterday's check-in, and just wanted to check in today at 5 p.m. To report some things. Today I missed my dosage by about 5 hours, and really feeling, surprisingly, I didn't think that you'd feel side effects from missing your dosage for 5 hours, but I've had splitting headaches for about 2-3 hours now. Just feeling super nauseous. Well, not super nauseous, like I'm gonna throw up, but slightly nauseous. And yeah, just having some pretty heavy headaches. I don't think I would classify them as migraines. I don't feel like I've ever had a migraine in my life, but I'm not someone who typically gets headaches, so any headache is just kind of like a nuisance to me. But yeah, it's 5 p.m. I'm supposed to take my dose at 10 a.m. and I didn't take today's dose till 3 because I just forgot. But yeah, feeling it now. Alright, well, I think it's about time to wrap up this little documentation that I did on the start of taking Lexapro. Pretty much done with my first full month of 10 milligrams, and I think, more or less the side effects are starting to subside, but even the ones that aren't, it's not a big deal. It's not as difficult as I thought it would be. Yeah, it doesn't change the game too bad. So still experiencing some sleepy days, still having days where I'll nap for half an hour to an hour, and then I'll be perfectly fine for the rest of the day. But I think the overall thing that I want to talk about, and the main point that I want to get to, is basically, does this work or not? And for me, as somebody who has struggled with general anxiety disorder for, 17 years more or less. I'm 28, and anxiety has just always been a part of my life, and something that I did not know was abnormal until I kind of self-destructed and did a lot of really bad things, or formed a lot of really just self-destructive habits over the last 10 years especially. And so yeah, it kind of took the crashing of my world to finally say, okay, you know what, I think I need to seek therapy and get help. And so I guess that's the larger point that I want to get at, is to not underestimate mental health, to not underestimate the power, like the healing power of these doctors and psychologists and therapists who have been in these fields for years and have the science to back up chemical imbalances and all that is associated with mental health. I know that I'm very thankful to have access to those things, as an American, even as, a low-income person in Los Angeles. As hard as it is to make a living here, when it came down to it, I was able to prioritize things in my life so that I could afford therapy, even though it's not cheap, and that I could afford medication, and doctor's visits and things like that. And that's without, that's without like public health insurance. This is all out of my own pocket. The goal in the long run would be to, obviously, to apply for those covered California, Obamacare, whatever you want to call it. But that's just the place that I found myself, the point I found myself in life, and I couldn't wait any longer. So a little unfortunate financially in that aspect, but again, the main point is it took a lot of self-destructing to realize medication is something I need to look into, and after it was suggested by a doctor, my experience in these 3 months has been so overwhelmingly positive, especially with this 10 milligrams now. I don't have nausea, I don't have insomnia, I don't have a lot of the I guess the harder side effects that some people have described. Just a little bit of fatigue, a little bit of tiredness here and there, but again, I'm hoping that my body will adapt to that and those things will subside as the months go on. But overall, anxiety levels have just been so way down, depression nearly non-existent, and it's only really the triggering events that make the days hard. So that's good. But yeah, thank you for watching, and I hope that you're able to gain some sort of insight in these videos that I've posted, these 3 videos, I think. So yeah, thank you guys.